Welcome to the Public Sector Show by Tech Table. Super excited to have 3 returning guests coming on the show. Michelle Geddes, the CIO for the San Francisco Department of Emergency Management. Rishma, the Chief Information Technology Officer for Clark County Department of Aviation. Shane McDaniel, CIO for the City of Seguin and past president of TAGITM. Welcome, y'all, to the Public Sector Show by Tech Table.
Thank you for having us.
Let's do this.
Thanks, Joe. We're so excited to be here. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, we're going to have a blast today. I'm really excited. It's been some time. I think Michelle, all the way back. Michelle, I think I published 217 or 218 episodes, and you came back on episode 87, something like that. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Give us an update. For those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll kind of go around in the circle.
Yeah, Joe, it's great to be back. And I so appreciate you and the connections that I build with your introduction. And I love your show. Yes, Michelle Geddes. I've been in my role with the San Francisco Department of Emergency Management for going on 5 years now. And I have spent a majority of my career working for the city and county of San Francisco, one of the most beautiful, innovative cities in the world, I will argue. And then previous to that, I have spent some time in the private sector, an engineer by trade, and I've always really been involved with building mission critical, highly resilient technology systems. So I had a extensive career here in San Francisco, and look forward to hearing and learning from the other folks, the other panelists.
Yeah, excited. We've got 2 super incredible women, sorry, Shane, on the podcast today. And fun fact, Michelle and I went up to San Francisco. She were leading a all women's conference or event. And then afterwards, we hopped in a Waymo together. And that was my first time. And I was very excited, had a blast in San Francisco. Fun times. Rishma, catch us up. It's been a hot minute. Even though I see you, I feel like every month. Tell us a little bit about where you're at today.
So just want to say hello to Michelle. It's been a few years, but I'm so happy to see you. And I've been following you on LinkedIn, and you are just doing so fabulously. And I'm such in awe of you, and I miss you. Just a little bit of history. Moved to Vegas 3 years ago for this Chief Information Technology position at the Harry Reid International Airport and its 4 general aviation airports. I manage the technology portfolio for an airport of 5. It's been a very blessed and amazing adventure. Learning the airline business has just been amazing. It is so different than anything I've ever done. Previous to coming here, I was actually the CIO for the San Francisco Police Department, where I got to meet the fabulous Michelle, and we got to have some great partnerships while I was at PD. And then previous to that, City of Reno, and previous to that, City of Albuquerque, and then private sector before that. So a lot of government, public service sector years in my career, which I absolutely love and treasure. And I will say that, Joe, after meeting you and really putting myself out there even more, I've built an amazing community of people and like-mindedness people who really believe in public service, believe in the integrity of public service, and more importantly, the accountability and transparency of the way we are implementing innovative technologies everywhere we go. And so hopefully that's a great lead-in into your next panelist, Shane, because they've done some great things in his hood as well.
Right on cue, Shane. Well, why don't you give us a quick intro, Shane?
Thank you for the kind words, Rishma. Shane McDaniel, CIO for the City of Seguin, Texas. I've been in my role for about 7.5 years now. My career spans about 30 years, if y'all can believe that. And Rishma, Michelle, I know what y'all are thinking, right? Like, you don't look a day over 37. It's true. I'm pushing 50, y'all. I've been doing this a long time. 15 years with the federal government. That's with the United States Air Force, and then a government contractor. About 5 years in private industry. I had to go to private industry to realize that I was a public servant at heart. So I left that world about 10 years ago. I found Texas local government. Born and raised in the middle of nowhere, East Texas. I cannot tell you what a privilege it is to serve my fellow Texans in providing all the technology that we do for one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So I am quoted many times on the internet saying that I'm the luckiest CIO walking the face of the earth. I very much believe that. Quite fortunate to do what we do here in the city and to have the support and everything. So happy to be here today as well. It's an honor to be chatting with you folks. So I'm ready, man. Let's do this.
So thank you, Shane, for that intro. I am very curious. How did the banter begin between you and Rishma on LinkedIn? What was the initial, how did this pop up?
I don't think I'll remember, to be honest with you. Rishma, do you?
I don't. No, I don't. I just know that Joe said something, as always, and I don't know if I don't think it necessarily pitted us together against each other, but I think it put us in line together about something to pick on Joe about. And so then we went after Joe together. That's all I remember.
That worked for me. I concur.
This is so funny. So I just released a podcast. Well, I didn't release it yet because the poor state of Nevada had a cyber attack, but I released a snippet from it that was pretty funny. During mid-podcast, dropped off. It was still recording, and so the 3 CIOs on there were like, hey, where'd Joe go? Oh, Joe's gone? Oh, we should hose that guy right now. And so I love the banter. I take everything. All of my friends tend to also hose me. You can see happens on a very regular basis.
But it's all done out of love, Joe. I don't think any of it has been malicious. And if you felt like it was from my perspective, I'm so sorry, but it's all Shane's fault.
It is all Shane's fault. I blame him for everything.
He was going there. Okay.
So this is all public. This is all public on LinkedIn. So I can see the banter and,
yeah,
and I can add to
Shane has always had my back. I will say Shane has always had my back because there have been instances where Joe has left out poor Rishma from a particular conversation, and Shane will just drag me right back in, which I absolutely love and adore. And then there are times where Joe has done that to Shane, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we've got to get Shane back into this too. So, we've got each other's backs, which is really heartwarming.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And Shane probably didn't pick up on this, but this is why I love podcasting. You can kind of have this open forum a little bit, and we'll get to the real stuff. I know everyone wants to share. I was just in San Antonio for the event that it was a Texas local government event where I was doing the podcast in person, and Shane points to the camera and is like, "Hey, Rishma," and says something. And what you can't hear is the background of people who are like, who's Rishma? Like in the audience, like live, and this is happening. I'm laughing. It was just too much. It was too funny. Okay, so we're gonna jump in. We're gonna jump into the actual podcast. Michelle, super excited. We'll kick off with you. We covered initially the 911 system, emergency management system, going to the cloud way back in the day. I think my first piece is it's been about maybe 2 years since you've been on the podcast. What's the update on that for us?
I know. We are on the journey. We're on the long road to 911 in, let's call it now more of a hybrid environment. San Francisco, we're the largest 911 center in Northern California. We are the busiest call center in Northern California. And we are very cautiously optimistic about moving to the cloud. We are partnering very closely with the state of California, who funds the 911 system for all of us. There's 450 911 centers across the states, and we are in their ear. We are working hand in hand with them to get this right. And so there have been some changes at the state level, and we are working now with them on more of a hybrid build out of 911 in the cloud, which I think is just sitting much better with the 450 PSAP across the state of California. And I think there's just a realization that moving completely to the cloud from the beginning and from the get-go it's just taken a lot longer to get there. But we're well underway. We've got a team selecting our vendor, and we're, within the next couple of years, we're going to be in that hybrid environment. And then, so that's on the 911 side of things. And then we are also actively working a major transformational computer-aided dispatch program, partnering with our police department, our fire department, EMS, our transit agency, our sheriffs, and we're well underway of getting to a next generation CAD technology, which we're super excited about. So lots has happened, a lot of work, but we're well in a journey that's taking quite some time.
Yeah, that's really great. And it probably should take a lot of time. I mean, this is a very complex project where a lot of people are still relying on critical services to still happen while the modernization is happening at the same time. Could you just maybe go a little bit deeper on the complexity that is required and maybe the collaboration that is required with so many other agencies, departments, funding, all of that in there?
Because the state of California really sets the vision, sets the contractual means towards getting new systems. And so we, as the local municipality and really the boots on the ground experts on how the 911 needs to work in our environment, we have been sitting hand in hand with the state, sorting through all these technology challenges. And in California, there's sort of two pieces to it. The whole back end, the ESInet, we call it, it's how we're getting away from the, copper circuit switch telephony environment, moving to a complete IP fiber resilient backbone network. And so there's the whole ESInet program that's well underway. And I'm hoping to see some really big progress out of the state of California in the very near term. I know, places like Los Angeles, they are pushing so hard to get onto this new backbone because their circuit switch technology is failing. People are stealing the copper lines. And so they need to get onto this new backbone. And in Northern California, we don't have those same challenges. And so we're really pushing for a thorough testing, ensuring that the calls are routed properly, ensuring that there's resilient backups. So there's different agencies and different needs. And then we have to work really closely with the state to lay out a path for each municipality. It's an ongoing process and we're getting there.
I love it. I've got to ask, but my last follow-up is, what's your vision? I know it's going to take some time, but where do you see maybe analytics or AI or augmented intelligence? I know Rishma picked that one up. Where do you see that going in the next couple of years, especially in emergency management?
I'll just stick with the land of the 911 call. We get over 1,000,000 calls for service in a given year, and we're a multicultural, multilingual city. And so many of our calls need translation, right? With this augmented reality, we're looking at the ability to get the 911 call in, transcribe, translate it as quickly as possible so that we can serve our entire constituent base as well as our visitors, our residents, travelers. And so I see that in our very near future, which is super exciting. And then just coalescing of all of the critical information that we need in order to get it to the first responder, being able to do that much more quickly because seconds count when you're doing those dispatches. And so having that information at the fingertips and getting it out to the field is what I see is good. AI is going to be transformational in that regard.
I love those two use cases. That first one, actually, I had just interviewed the CIO for Clark County, Bob Leake, and this is a use case that he's looking at is I think there are 27 different languages that get spoken across Las Vegas. And so same thing with 1 million calls coming in, multicultural, that is a fantastic use case. Rishma, you're preparing Harry Reid for second airport. Is it the second airport? Second airport, 20 miles south. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Love it. How are you thinking about the roadmap, the strategy, architecting the experience? Tell us a little bit more about how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, so one of the great things about Las Vegas is that we're a destination city, right? So people come to Vegas to see Vegas. They don't come here to transfer to another airline and go somewhere else. So we have this amazing opportunity to really look at Las Vegas as the gateway to every. And so one of the things we are facing is capacity issues. How are we going to get all of our fabulous guests in and out of the airport in a way that allows them to have seamless journeys? And so we are building a second commercial airport that will supplement this airport. So right now it is called the Southern Nevada Supplemental Airport. It is going through its EPA environmental impact study now. And once we get through that, then we have a few years or a number of years to get the airport built. So what we're looking at is building a Terminal 3 20 miles south of us. So it'll be an extension of this airport. So we're going to have one Harry Reid International Airport, and we will have just two locations, Terminal 1 and 2 here. 20 miles south will be Terminal 3. So there's a lot of things to consider in this, right? One is how do we ensure that we have a completely safeguarded, segregated, and redundant infrastructure between the two facilities. I can do that here because I'm within a campus, right? How am I going to do that with a facility 20 miles south of us? So there's a lot that we have to look into as we're looking at how do we build out the infrastructure for network. What are we going to do for redundancy? Are we going to look at other types of networks to add into the infrastructure? What is that going to look like? So One of the cool things is that we actually have general aviation airports. So these are the North Las Vegas Airport and the Henderson Executive Airport, which are our non-commercial airports. These are where all the private flights come into, right? The Golden Knights have a hangar and they have their planes there. The Raiders have their planes there. Then at North Las Vegas, we have flight schools, local pilots who have their planes there, things like that. So we're actually going to start using these facilities as innovation hubs and labs. So we can put in technologies there to start testing out. What is this going to look like if I have to do microwave backhaul? How am I going to do that? Where am I going to do that? What kind of technologies am I going to use? So that's a really cool thing that we're really looking into and thinking about. One of the other things that we're really starting to investigate is private LTE. So private cellular, how are we going to use that to help us do the things we need to do? Our campus, airport campus, is a lot of concrete, so we have a lot of dead spaces. So how are we going to add a new network spectrum into our infrastructure, and what is that going to look like? So that is something that's a lot of fun. But when it really comes to looking at the guest services and how are we going to put the guest needs first in this new airport, we're actually modernizing our current airport now. So Harry Reid is going through this massive modernization effort over the next 5 to 7 years. We're doing a lot of construction, building out new spaces. And so we are following that strategy and putting in a transformation strategy is for the modernization of our technologies. So we're looking at our technology stack. What do we need to modernize and upgrade there? Let's look at all of our tool sets. What do we need to do to upgrade those? And while we're at it, let's use the entire airport as an innovation lab and test out new technologies as well. So one of the cool things we just rolled out last month was we are now able to see checkpoint wait times, and we're using AI for that. We're using new technologies for that. We're using computer visioning for that. We're also using what we already have in place or leveraging some of the current technologies we have. So one of the strategies I've put into place here that my teams have just adapted and adopted to is let's look at what we have. Let's modernize what we need to and really get the foundations of our technologies right. And then let's play around with it. See what we can do to expand, extend, augment the services. Where can we put in some new tool sets with AI, computer visioning, language models, data analysis, that kind of stuff to help us be that much more in the forefront of decision making, and then move on from there. And then that gives us a portfolio of technologies we can start looking at putting into the new airport. That new airport is a 2035, 2037 rollout, go live, opening. That's quite a few years out, but it gives us the opportunity to really look at those technologies. I don't want to forecast something 10 years out. I'd rather do this in a 3-year rolling stack so that every 3 years we're kind of looking at what else is there. But if we can build out the infrastructure that is future forward, that is really helping us look at new ways of incorporating new spectrum, then we'll be in better alignment with the new airport when it comes out.
Well, I'm looking forward to that go live rollout. I've had a chance to visit your office with you and the team, which was cool. But anytime I stop in the Las Vegas airport, I always think about just knocking on the door, knowing that most likely they won't let me in, but I could. Yeah, just text you. Yeah. Shane, wanted to jump over to you. You've been building out Seguin's cybersecurity program. We talked about this on the podcast, but I just think it's like such a great story to retell as far as not having a whole lot of budget in Seguin, but really upskilling the workforce. Walk us through that vision of you being the head cheerleader and just championing personal development for your team.
It's true. I believe any success that we attain here in this organization is contingent on the individuals and building them up and preparing them for those future roles and just getting the culture to the point where we believe we can accomplish absolutely anything if we put our mind to it, right? And that's just an internal wire as far as who I am as a person. And just through time, and you build that confidence and you gain those experiences and you have those setbacks. And one of the things I'll say, you get knocked down 10 times, you get up 11, right? And so that's the mindset. I want very tough people, creative, curious, driven. And we try to suss all that out whenever we hire and whatnot. But it's been an interesting challenge. We're 30 miles outside of San Antonio. We are in a traditionally, historically rural area. And so finding talent, I'll give you an example. I came from the city of McKinney up in the Dallas area, which is part of proper Dallas or the greater Dallas area. And whenever I had an open position up there, I'd get 120 plus applicants for every single role that would be passed through HR, no telling how many people actually applied. When I first started here, we were fortunate to get 10 applicants per an open position. My department has more than doubled in the time that I've been here because we are one of the fastest growing cities in the country. People are flocking here. I got 60 subdivisions and 19,000 homes in the process of development just in the city limits. There's more outside in the county. People have found Seguin, this region, and they're flocking here. So we're being hit with that growth as well. We made a huge investment in people. More than half my staff graduated from the local school districts here. I think more than half of them, they have no professional experience outside of this organization. That's okay, though, because we made that investment. One of the first things that I fought for whenever I arrived was I gradually bumped up our training and travel and our educational budget, essentially. So tasking the folks to go out and we need to learn this technology. We've completely replaced our entire infrastructure. So Extreme Networks is a good example. We were an HP network prior to that. Well, we bring in the new technology. We've got to get folks certified. We've got to get folks trained up to manage that network whenever we take ownership of it. So getting folks ready and just having that mindset, right? We stood up a certification reimbursement program. We stood up an internship. We've hired every single intern that we brought in into full-time positions, some of which have been promoted 3 times since I've been here. We've done 17 promotions internally. I'm so proud of the fact, and I think kind of what you were alluding to on that previous podcast, when I started here in 2018, I had 1 person on staff with a 4-year degree and 0 industry certifications. Today, that number is 13 degrees and 27 certifications spread across the entire department of 15 people. I'm so proud of that. And that's how we've gotten to the point where we just keep promoting internal people. And 99% of the time, we hire someone at the entry level where credentials matter less, experience matters less. We've given plenty of people opportunities and chances. And we're really trying to find that right mindset of we can train someone to do anything we want them to do. If you got that right mindset, that's all we need. And so literally right now, for the first time in 6 years, we created a new position and we're hiring someone at what I call the tier 2 level, kind of like a mid-level career. And so that's the first time we haven't promoted internally in 6 years. So it's very hard to get your foot in the door in this organization, which has led to some wonderful things like the awards and all the positivity and whatnot. And not only that, but I mentioned I was lucky to get 10 applicants for every open position a few years ago. Today, I've received something like 55 for that current one that we have. So like just that culture that was built, that, all the positivity, it's led to more folks wanting to be a part of what's happening here with technology. I'm so proud of it. And it all goes to those folks. They're across the hallway from me. I give them all the credit in the world. Those folks are a bunch of all-stars, and I'm fortunate to be that head cheerleader for them.
I love that. And I love that phrase, head cheerleader. So good. Especially when Shane is a big guy. So like we stand next to him, like he makes you feel safe. You get like the warm and fuzzies. Like he's not wearing his Texas hat today, but normally he is. And I get the head cheerleader.
It's so interesting hearing, Shane, your perspective, because with the talent, like in San Francisco, it's a little nuanced in that it's hard for us to attract those like-minded individuals because they can go to the private sector and be very successful in this area. But we have a phrase we turn in the public sector, you choose a career with purpose. And so we really have to lead with, it's a very important mission, purposeful engagement. And that's how we attract talent.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michelle, I have some stories that I just absolutely love of folks on this team. There was a guy that was stocking shelves at an Amazon warehouse down the road from us, had a degree in IT from University of South Florida, and his family relocated here, and he was having trouble getting an IT position here locally. We took a chance on him. That's the guy that's been promoted 3 times. He's such a stud. He just needed someone to give him that chance. There was a guy that delivered a TV from Best Buy to my house like 3-4 years ago. I liked that guy so much. Like, he was proactive. He communicated. I was like, hey, I'm running 30 minutes late. I just wanted to let you know. No worries, dude. And I got to know him a little bit whenever he was installing that TV. And I was like, hey, man, we're always looking for new talent. I don't have a position right now, but next time I have an entry-level position, I want to give you a call. And I gave him my card, and we kept in contact. And sure enough, 6-9 months later, something became available, and I was like, you should apply, dude. And that's another guy that's been promoted a couple of times. He just needed someone to give him that chance. I do sell local government, our pension, our benefits, our balance, things like I don't have a turnover problem. I haven't seen that, but I also don't have the big tech companies right outside my door either, like you're dealing with there, probably in Vegas too, right? So yeah, we don't have that competition.
Yeah, here we're competing with the resorts, which makes it a little hard because, you know, the bonuses are great if they are able to fill the numbers and all that good stuff. But what we do here is, right, we create an ambassador program. So we are all ambassadors of the airport, and we have to cheerlead our airport and make it a fun place to work. And really, it is I love my job. I love my job. I love my team. And I hope the team loves all the things we've been doing over the past 3 years. But we're really saying, hey, if we want to attract really good people to come and work with us and for us, we have to like what we're doing, first of all. And if we don't like what we're doing, let's figure that out. Let's put you in a place where you're going to be successful. Because if you're just doing a job just for the sake of doing the job, then that's not going to help any of us. Let's make sure you're in a place of success. And how do we get you there? So we've done a lot of internal moves to put people into the right places. Maybe they just weren't using their skill sets appropriately in the positions that they were at, just because through, you know, normal attrition and moving and growing and all that stuff, they just kept moving up the chain, the ladder, and it wasn't the right fit for them. So we did a lot of internal reorgs. We looked at where their strengths were, put them into those new roles or created roles for them, and now they are thriving. And because they are thriving, they are now talking about what a great place and how supportive it is to be in a place like this to work. And so when we do have positions that are open, we're getting 50 to 100 applicants per position now. We have to be our own cheerleaders as well, and we have to be ambassadors of our organizations. And I love that, Shane, you're the head cheerleader, because that's honestly what we all have to do. Michelle lives by her code all the time. I know she does. I've seen her do it, right? She lives with the purpose. She does her job for a purpose, and she's doing it for the people of San Francisco. And here at the airport, we're doing it for our guests. We want to make sure that our guests are coming through and having a seamless journey, because travel is one of the most anxiety inducing activities a person can go through. They can be completely sane and normal. They walk through the doors in an airport and all logic goes out the door. There's so much anxiety when it comes to travel, and we've got to make sure that we're able to center them and get them through the process in a way that is safe for them and safe for other guests, and just get them through.
I didn't even think about that, but probably because I travel so much. But yeah, especially Las Vegas is a huge airport. If anyone's listening and you've been to the Santa Barbara airport, you realize you just walk on. It's kind of awesome. You leave your car in the lot and it's a hot 2-minute walk. We're building a second building. Can you believe that, Rishma? We're building a second building in Santa Barbara. I know, it's big time.
I'm so interested to see what the messaging is going to be around this new facility, because I could just picture myself booking a trip to Las Vegas and then I end up 30 miles outside of the city being like, how do I get to the Wynn?
Yeah. And you know, Michelle, that's a great point. And we're already having those conversations, right? Because there isn't a huge transportation model between the two facilities already built, right? Like the roads and the freeways and the highways, like how are we doing that? So we're building partnerships with autonomous vehicles and saying, hey, how are we going to do this? We're looking at how do we use these new technologies that are coming out, right? There's the Boring Company drilling holes all underneath Las Vegas, right? What is that going to look like? Is that going to help promote transportation? But really the messaging we want to have in the end is, whether you're at Terminal 1, 2, or 3, you're still part of the Harry Reid International Airport system. You're still part of that airport, and you will be able to get to your destination seamlessly. You may just be on a train, a bus, a taxi, an Uber, whatever that mechanism is going to be, it's still going to be available to you. So we're making this more of a packaged outlook than just a building, right? We understand that we have to make sure that our guests are going to get to where they need to get to.
Yeah, I wish the San Francisco Bay Area would have
Wait, is that the Oakland?
as we get Oakland. There's no way to get from SFO to San Jose. Oakland actually just tried to rebrand their airport to the San Francisco Bay. That That didn't go
CIO is
anywhere.
actually quite fabulous. Kyle is
Yeah.
actually quite fabulous. He's got a really great story too. But yeah, it's interesting what airports go. We rebranded as well. 3 years ago, we went from the McCarran Airport to the Harry Reid Airport, and it's still taking us. It's still taking years of saying Harry Reid over and over again for people to catch on that that's what that is. I tell people the M word is the dirty word. We're not allowed to say it anymore. It's the bad word. And if they say it, they're going to owe me money because I can always buy a new pair of shoes. So it's like I Venmo, PayPal, all those things. Just don't say the M word around me. So
The M word. I have an idea. We all visit Rishma in 7 years from now when this thing's really done. And we all hop in, we'll fly. We're going to land 30 miles out and we're going to test the experience. Maybe a Waymo picks us up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
Zoom.
some, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And then we can tell Rishma the experience if
I'll
she's
just
still
come
there.
with you. I'll be
Come with
there.
us.
I'll come with you.
Yeah, you come with us.
Yep.
Okay. I think we've broadly hit on this, but I think just kind of closing thoughts on, I think when the leader gets better, everyone in the organization gets better. Love to hear, Michelle, we can kick off with you. What does leadership mean to you? What does collaboration mean to you in the context of driving the mission forward?
Oh, man, yeah, lead by example. I feel like in order to be effective as a leader, my goal is just building relationships, building trust, and then sort of aligning everyone on a common goal and then chipping away at getting there. But I mean, relationship building, picking up the phone, calling whomever it needs to be in order to move the needle on whatever my team is working on is so important. And that's the way that I feel like I'm the most effective is if I am engaging and then helping my team break down barriers by building relationships, especially where we sit in the world that I live in. And the Department of Emergency Management in San Francisco is really like we manage emergencies. We have to collaborate across multiple departments, police, Rishma, remember dealing with the police department, the fire department, the sheriff's department, centralized ID. I mean, it's a constant just moving of or trying to align on everybody's different needs and wants and then slowly and methodically chipping away and getting there. And so I lead by example and I lead by building relationships and building trust with my partners.
I love that. That's the blueprint for success in a lot of things in life. Rishma, yeah, I'd love to hear leadership, collaboration, what that means for your agency.
So for us and for me, really leadership, and this adds on to what Michelle is saying, right? For us, it's community. For me, it's community. So whether in the moment I have the title, which is great and all, that means I have some type of respect and trust built into all that, which is fabulous. But that doesn't mean I have to be the voice that centers the message all the time, right? And so having a community within my leadership group means that I can delegate or I can have others take on that role and that responsibility because influence is not just about who you are, it's about who you let carry the message as well. And sometimes people are just going to hear messages differently from other people. And so to have that community center, to have centered mind, it's that we all speak the same language. So me and so the directors that report to me, the managers that report up the line, right, we all have to make sure we're speaking the same language and we're saying the same thing. But then it's letting them go out and having those conversations with their peers and so forth, because if we're all centering the same message out to the world about what our mission is, what our strategy is, what our customer service expectations are, what we are here to do, how we were here to help everybody, then that message is going to filter better across the organization and it's going to lend itself well to the organization itself, right? So it's going to allow IT to have better serviceability and trust with everybody throughout the organization. And so for me, leadership is not just having the role, being the role. It is also ensuring that there is a sense of community amongst us, that we have each other's backs, that we trust each other, and we are able to speak the same language and go out and service those that need it from us the most.
Love that. Shane, leadership, collaboration, and then after that, just a short plug for TAG.
Okay. Leadership and collaboration. I think the success, any success that we have here in this organization is predicated on authenticity. I've lived and worked all over the country, all over the world throughout my 30-year career, almost 30 years. And I do believe this organization is very, very reflective of the community that we serve. Blue collar folks, we're a manufacturing city. That's what drives this region, that sort of mindset. And I love the fact that our organization is kind of wired that same way, to include my IT department. So that authenticity, we are a very relationship driven organization. I find that to be accurate across the state of Texas and local government as compared to some of my experience with the feds and then private industry. So relationships are anything and everything in what we do. I have to have those relationships with my staff, my fellow department heads, city management, our council, mayor, all incredibly wonderful people trying to drive this community forward and all the good things that are happening. So I find that authenticity. That's the one thing about rural folks, man. Like, they can see right through you. You better not, be fake. Don't try to be something that you're not, because they'll call you out on it. I just find that it just so happens, me being from a farming type of household and that sort of thing there in East Texas, like my upbringing and just who I am as a person, I've always felt like I don't know if you can put me in a better situation for who I am. All the innovative things, all the cool things that happen here, just sort of marrying high-end technology with that sort of community. And you see what happens, all the cool stuff. And we're very proud of being one of the most recognized as one of the most innovative cities in the country. And that's all done with like regular folks, right? So we're very proud of that. And that's kind of just a fundamental belief. I consider myself so fortunate to have been here for a few years and to understand that. It just makes my life so easy dealing with everyone. And TAGITM, when I started in Texas local government about 10 years ago, I got invited to attend that annual event. It's a year-round thing, but the annual event is the big to-do. And this is literally what happened. I was with the city of McKinney up in the Dallas area. My CIO up there, who was a mentor and became a friend over years and whatnot, he sent me to it like that first year. And I walked through the door and I realized almost immediately, like, my God, I found my people, right? Like a bunch of good old boys and gals, maybe staying up too late, hanging at the bar too long, just talking technology or having a good time. I am made for things like that, right? So I just kind of like, it was almost easy to fit in and just build those relationships, that rapport with my peers across the state of Texas, as well as the neighboring states that we always tell them we're not going to change the name, but you guys can come hang out with us. It's Texas. We can't do that. So TAGITM has been invaluable to my 10 years in this world. I didn't come up in local government. I've only been doing it the last decade. There are some things still in city government that I can't necessarily connect those dots. I don't have that fundamental understanding as like if my career would have been in this space the entire time. But that's what TAGITM does. What we tell people is the solution is in the room. So essentially, I just have to have those relationships. I never have to reinvent the wheel. I just need to have like my finger on the pulse, because somebody out there has either done something smarter, better, faster, more efficient, save money, whatever. I just need to know who that was and track them down, because another thing that I found in local government is, I bet you if I called Rishma's office, she would either pick up or call me back, as compared to my time with the feds or private industry. I'm a former Dell employee, right? And this is the example I always provide. If HP called over to our office at Dell and they were like, hey, how are you guys doing this? Be like, why are you calling me? What in the world? And you hang up, right? And local government is the exact opposite. We're very collaborative. We help each other. And TAGITM is just kind of the engine for that here in the state of Texas.
How do I become a member?
You just give Shane a
Do
call.
I have to move?
So my presidency just ended a few months ago at the annual event, but we have a management organization that kind of oversees them. They're wonderful folks, but they deal with a lot of nonsense from me, right? I was giving out passes and letting so many people. I was like, hey, let them in, and just take care of it. We did like a 80s concert. We had the Spasmatics come in. So like I was trying to get as many people as I possibly could. We blew out the all-time attendance record. We had 1,100 people at that event that Joe was at a couple of months ago. Just another cool thing, just seeing that grow here over the past few years. And it's pretty awesome, man.
Michelle, we need to do a San Francisco meetup in, it looks like in Texas at the next TAGITM.
Come on down with the cool kids.
Maybe I'll take a Waymo there.
pass through that airport they're building. So before we jump, and I really appreciate everyone jumping on today. I know we talk about on the podcast a lot on the leadership front, the human front. Sometimes I get, wow, Joe, it's just not technical enough. Sometimes I get, Joe, it's not deep enough. And so my response to everyone is, I coach high school basketball, and before every game, you draw the plays up. And if the team is not aligned, if the relationships for the high school kids are not aligned, the game plan falls apart so fast. And the exact same thing happens in technology organizations. If the people are not aligned, I don't care what roadmap you have, that thing will collapse. And so I'm going to keep hammering home the importance of leadership, collaboration, and cross-state collaboration. This is super awesome. I loved how this came together for today's episode. Thank you all for coming on the show today. Appreciate you.
I am honored to be here with all of these fabulous people. Thank you, Joe, for putting me in this podcast.
Yes.